Hello everybody, sorry for the delayed start. I have switched YouTube channels and I decided to set up a channel specifically for doing the Lego design, and I realized that I didn't switch my streaming software key to the new channel. So this is and I have to mute this now. This is a new channel, so it took me a couple minutes to figure out where the live stream key was, and had to go back and forth between realizing I was searching on a computer where I couldn't copy and paste it over. Anyway, welcome to the third installation of Microfighter Designs. It's a Saturday evening. I've decided to try to switch to the evenings instead of early morning, maybe to get more viewers, maybe to accommodate more people that are not up at 8 in the morning. Plus, it's now the evening on Saturdays, so we're also going to be trying adult beverages. This is one of my favorite adult beverages, but we'll get into that in a second. I'd like to also talk about, right off the bat, cloud storage and backing up your work. Now, coming from an art background, it was really easy to get away with not backing up your work because you're painting or you're drawing, and backing up your work means saving your sketchbooks. But if you do digital art, you always want to save as often as possible. You always want to back up your files, especially if you're working on a big project and it has a lot of different files for it. You want to make sure to back those up. Well, I didn't. I had a hard drive that has lasted me about 10 years, and I had everything on it. I had artwork, I had photos. Oh, there's some music, fantastic. Also, let me know if you can hear the music, and we'll get into that in a second. There is the hard drive that I had failed, and I lost a lot of work. I lost a lot of photos of my kids, and I lost a lot of artwork that I had saved. It was all on Flickr, but Flickr was kind of going away if you were just if you just had a free account. So needless to say, I lost some Lego instructions. I lost some of the build files. I lost some of the images, the newer renders. So a lot of these we'll have to recreate. And it's not that big of a deal. And I did have most of them uploaded on Google. So now everything's synced to Google Drive. It's sort of forced my hand to do it. It's something I was going to do eventually, but it forced my hand. So that was fun. I spent most of a day trying to figure that out. I can still try to recover the hard drive, but it would require a $40 drive board. And I'm not really sure that if it's worth all that much, honestly, since I've got most of it. Moving on, this is a Founder's Backwoods Bastard. It is a bourbon barrel aged stout. Aged in oak bourbon barrels. It's one of my favorite beers. I was kind of sad because I bought 2 4-packs, one of this and one of my other favorite beer, Temptress. It's a Longmont brewing company, or not Longmont, Lakewood Brewing Company. And when I got home, I dropped the bottles and they shattered all over the place. So I ended up with one of these guys. So I was a little sad because I wanted to sample a couple of these while we were working. So it's now evening instead of morning. So instead of coffee, we're doing beer. I might try to do a couple new beers every time we do this, is to sort of fit in a little bit extra content. Before we get into the model here, which you can see on the screen, it's a finished version of what I was working on last week, the Munificent class Star Frigate with Count Dooku. I did get some parts in the mail for a couple other builds. This is the Venator class Star Destroyer, I guess, for lack of a better term, but it's a carrier cruiser that was used by the Republic during the Clone Wars. I'm trying to see if you can see it okay over there. I've got a new light source, so I'm going to try to play with a few things. Anyway, this isn't my design. This is a user by the name of Arendelle 2016, and I found some of their builds on Flickr and on Bricklink's gallery site. So this is one of their designs. You can see it's very tight, it's very swooshable. This piece is a little loose on the bottom, but it's overall a really nice design. It looks like they took a lot from the Star Destroyer set and kind of built onto the back of it. They built the double, not cockpits, but bridges, double bridges on top. So it's a really good look. I really like this one. These early builds that I'm getting parts for are sadly other people's designs. And I only say sadly because I'm really excited to build my designs. But there's a lot of really good builders out there, and I'm really happy to be building some of these. So this one is mine, and I also got the parts for it today. This is a Lucre Hulk class battleship with a Nemoidian, I think that's Newt Gunray. This is also pretty swooshable. If you take this off the little stand, it's held together pretty well, you know, not a lot of shaking and stuff like that. If you notice, it's three of these circular wedge pieces on either side, but they're off-centered. This is normally how you would put them together in Lego form, but I turned it like this so I could get that nice sort of open C shape. The internal structure of this is really messed up. I did the instructions for it, and for whatever reason the software allowed me to link something or click something together that shouldn't. So these engines are being held together, and I can probably show you by a jumper plate here and just a single thing here. It offsets it, but it works. And it's really kind of ugly inside, but I think it looks pretty spectacular. There's a lot of 1x1s with studs on either side to hold the curved plates together. I really like this one. The instructions I'll have up for download on Rebrickable sometime next week. I have to redo it because once I started building it, I saw that there were some problems with the design. So that's one failing of working in purely digital and then ordering parts for it and then getting it in the physical, is that sometimes it doesn't work. There's going to be a couple pieces of this that may or may not work, but you know, it worked in the software, so that's, I feel like that gets you 90% there. So this is the Munificent class. We left off with sort of this back end, not really connected, but as you can see, it's kind of got the same jumper plates here as the front, so we can get that nice 3-stud construction across the back here is the same as the front. To keep it small and compact. If we did a 4x across it, it'd be too big. If we did a 1x across or a 2-stud wide on the back, it probably wouldn't have allowed us to have any room to put these kind of conning towers on it. I'm not really big fan of the thrusters back here. The actual picture, the actual model has these sort of braces coming out a little farther, but I think overall it works. It gets most of the look of the ship enough to where, you know, if someone were to see it and go, oh, that's that one ship from that one show. So that works. So that's this one. This week we're going to work on the Black Ace from Star Wars Resistance. Now, Star Wars Resistance is a Disney Channel show in which a group of ace flyers live on a station called the Colossus. It's a show really geared towards younger children, even more so than Rebels or Clone Wars. I've been watching it mostly because I like seeing new ships. The story is okay. It's a kid's show, so it doesn't move really fast. There's not a lot of character development, and they're bringing it closer into the First Order era for the not the Last Jedi, but the Force Awakens. So it's starting to lead it right into the Force Awakens. Now, this isn't the main character ship. I've already done the main character ship. This is actually the main character's. Nope, that's not it. That's the Green Ace. The main character is Kazuda Ziono, and his ship is called the Fireball, and it's not really his ship. It's the team he works with. That's their ship. So each ace flyer on this platform has their own ship. And I forget what this guy's name is, so forgive me. I'm going to have to look him up. His name's like Griff Halloran or something. Black Ace Star Wars. He has a, he kind of is a, he's got a stormtrooper helmet and Griff Halloran, there he is. So I think he's ex-Navy. He's got the tattoo of the Empire, right? So he's an old grizzled vet of the old Empire. So this is his modified TIE fighter, and I'm not really sure where he got the rest of this, but I just think this is a really cool ship. There's not many images of it, so we're kind of going to have to make something up as we go. This is also a ship that has come out, that will be coming out this year with Lego, the official version, and that's not a really good image. I'm trying to see if there's one. You can see his helmet has a skull painted on the front. It's pretty cool. This is of the Aces. This is one of my favorites. So I've already done two. Oh, here they are. So these are the other two. This is Kaz's ship, and this is Dora's ship. She flies, it's called the Blue Ace for all I know. These are all called Blue Ace, Yellow Ace, Purple Ace. This one is an R-41 Star Chaser, and it's a ship that shows up, I can't remember where it shows up. I don't think it shows up in any of the really old games like X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, but I think maybe X-Wing Alliance, it'll show up in that. It's an older design, but it's kind of made a resurface lately. That's kind of her ship, but it might be like an R-43 or something. So anyway, moving back onto this, this is going to be obviously a modified TIE fighter. So what we could do is, and I didn't download this ahead of time, I should have. I think we're just going to take a TIE fighter that we already have and just start from there. The one I was thinking of, probably the easiest, is going to be, it'd have to be the one that I have, although we could import, you know what, let's do that, because this is a feature of the software that I could probably showcase. So let's do the TIE Interceptor Microfighter. Excuse me. So what Bricklink does, this is set number 75031. What you can do with Bricklink, among other things, is import an official Lego set. 75031. And it'll kind of show you a, yep, it'll show you a little preview so you know you're getting the right one. You can import it in scene, which means it'll put it all in the working area. Or you could do it as a palette, which means it'll just load those parts. So I don't really need that. I'm going to import everything. Now the problem with this is we need to put it together. I'm just going to show you this because I don't want to put it together. This will take a little longer than I want to deal with. So we're just going to open up one of my other models. But this is something you can do, and then you can put it all together in the software. And again, if you just want to buy the parts, this is an easy way to, if you have the software, import the model, upload it to Bricklink to make a wish list, and now you have a wish list, so you know exactly what parts to buy, versus going through each part from the instructions or something like that. It's a really great way to get wish lists made, and it's a really easy way to get parts. So instead of doing that, what we're going to do, and I want to save this, don't always show on start. I'm going to create new. We're going to go get a file off here, and we're going to do probably, because I haven't done many ties, I've done a TIE bomber, but I'm trying to think if I was able to, so we do have a TIE fighter. Okay, that's good. That'll be a perfect one. I don't want to do that. Exit out of that. I'm in a Mac, so I just have to remember there's no right clicking. All right, so that's in the download folder. Go back here, I'm gonna open, and TIE Fighter. All right, so we're gonna keep a lot of these basics, right? We're gonna keep, especially the cockpit area, because we're gonna have a person sitting here, but we aren't gonna need the wings. And also, this is my own thing with microfighters is they always have, and most Lego ships do, most Lego models have this, is the, I'm going to say hi to some people. Hi, people. Hi, Goldie. Hi, Aaron. Hi, Beth. Thanks for joining me, guys. Goldie's my friend Melissa. She has a channel called Goldilocks and the Bear on Mixer, and it's a fantastic channel. They do some crazy shit. They do, they act out musicals, they do karaoke, they watch cartoons, they play games. It's kind of all over the place. It's like a variety show. It's fantastic. My friend Aaron has a channel on Mixer called Scruffy Nerf Herder, and he plays a lot of games. He's a great guy. He's my fellow Star Wars nerd, so we'll go off on Star Wars. We'll play Battlefront and just kind of talk about that. So thanks for joining, people. Let me know if you can't hear music or you can't see something, or, you know, this is still new to me, so I'm trying to figure it out. Thanks for joining. Or if you have any questions, type them up in the chat and I'll see if I can answer them. Back to this, Lego does a lot of what I call action items, or actionable action bricks, where for play value, they want to put in things that you can do. And one of the easiest things to do with little ships like this is put in some sort of flick missile or stud shooter. Let me see if I can kind of show you what we got. Drift away from the camera for a second. They used to have a thing called, and I don't necessarily have to demonstrate all of these, but they used to have them on, I'm going to stand up so you're going to get a full shot of the belly here, but here, t-shirt. This is another Will Heron Designs t-shirt. This is one of my favorites. I got it a long time ago, and he did a very limited run of these, so it was a lot of fun. So these are spring-loaded shooters. Oh, and this one doesn't look like it's working. Another one. They include these in bigger models of starships and whatnot, and none of these are working. Maybe it's just this one spring thing. Huh, all right. Anyway, you would load, oh, it's backwards. So you would load these, and you can see it's got a big soft rubberized nub on the front of it, and it shoots, right? So Lego has instructions on the back half of the set when you're about finished and you're attaching these, or wherever the, you know, and it's got the head with the, you know, the eye being poked out, and it's got a line through. Don't shoot your eye out. So they've got these, which I think are probably the best. But then they also have these newer ones, which are supposed to be lasers, because these big block ones are just supposed to hit stuff. So if you've got a big ship and you're flying around and you shoot it, it hits another thing and knocks it over. These little guys are lasers, but they just push in like that, and then you push the back of it, and it spring load shoots out. So these are not bad. The problem with any of these is that they take up space on the ship. Other things that, you know, you could use for stabilizers or decals, or not even decals, like fins or engine parts or other greebling, they stick these things on, and it's not my favorite. So these are what the microfighters have. These are called stud shooters, and I'm going to lose this piece because I don't want to go hunting for it. But, and you can't really see, but at the top there's a little trigger. So these get set on the sides of the wings, and then they fire. You push the little thing, and it shoots, and that's gone forever. So I try not to include those when I'm doing designs because I just don't like them. But all the microfighters have them. All the ones that you can get from Lego have the shooters on them. And that's so they're playable. So a little kid can fly around and it can shoot stuff. They've actually pushed it so far that now they have these sets that you can put together with targets on them, which I don't like. I totally put that in the wrong spot. Fix that later. So anyway, all that is to say, and that's your little bit of Lego knowledge for the day. I will not, these are flick missiles. These you just hit with your finger like this, and it pops out. I'm not going to do that for this. So this whole thing can go, is what I'm saying. This was my design for a TIE fighter. I'm really shocked that Lego actually didn't do a TIE fighter. They had a TIE interceptor. They did a TIE prototype, which showed up in Rebels, a TIE advanced prototype, and then they did a TIE striker from Rogue One, but that's it. There wasn't a TIE advanced. There wasn't Darth Vader's TIE advanced. There was no TIE bomber. There was no TIE fighter. Now, admittedly, there's a million versions of TIE fighters in the Star Wars universe. Just look up TIE variant. You'll get a poster full of 47 different models. It's really ridiculous. I do have a list of ones that I want to do, some of the less esoteric ones. But I think basically it's kind of a failure that they didn't include just a regular TIE fighter. This one isn't great. This is my design, and it's not great. I went to a lot of trouble to try to get the outline of the solar panels here to look as much like a TIE fighter as possible. And if you squint your eyes and you're kind of far away, it has the same pattern. But this just isn't, I mean, these will fall off really easily if you're playing with it. They clip in fine, but if you touch the ends of these kind of things while you're playing with it, the little bars are going to pop off. So it's not a great design. I've seen others that are really fantastic, and I'm not a big fan of the way they're joined here. So anyway, so what we're going to do, we don't need these wings for our design. So we'll get rid of these. These are interesting choices. I don't know why I picked these, probably just because they looked a little mechanical. I think if I spun them around, they'd be a little better. These are what are called masonry bricks or profile bricks. They're great for buildings. I'll show you what they look like. So if you have a bunch of these stacked up, these are great for the sides of buildings to make it look like brick. Because even though you've got a bunch of Lego bricks together, when you have a wall of Lego bricks together, it's very smooth. So it doesn't look like a brick wall. So you can kind of cheat and put some of these in. You don't have to do a whole wall of it, but they're good for building houses and buildings and things like that. They're occasionally okay for building TIE fighters. I think I'll leave them in there for now. So let's go back to our main image here. And again, we're not going to get too many images. New tab. Let's see how big this is. Okay, so it's not too bad. I can zoom in on it. Yes, no? Yes, no? Come on, Mac. Somebody help me out with Mac functions. All right, so we can see it's got the basic TIE ball here. And instead of doing the solar fins on the side, it looks like it abandons them all together. Now, the solar fins for TIE fighters, as far as I know, it's pure energy collection, and a TIE fighter is light and fast and maneuverable because it's got, the TIE stands for twin ion engine, for those of you who don't know anything about Star Wars. Twin ion engine, so if you look at the back of a TIE fighter, it's got these two little red dots, and that's where it gets its thrust from. In lore, apparently, TIE fighters are ridiculously fast. So he looks like he's abandoned them for these more conventional chemical thrusters, which is fine, or plasma thrusters, not really sure. These wings up in, or these stabilizers up in the front, obviously for racing. That's a really great look. It looks like they're joined here, so we don't have to worry about it being a what's called a Vic Viper. Vic Viper is just a type of Lego ship, and I forget. There's history behind it, and I don't remember it at the moment. So, so let's start with these wings up front. These are going to be just regular wedge plates. And did I delete more than I wanted to? I probably did. So let's go back. Command. I forget. I'm on a Mac. How much did I delete? Oh, I didn't delete a lot. Okay. So let's redo all that. All right. So that's, oh, that's the front. That's why. Okay. Yeah. That's not great. I don't know why I did that. I mean, it looks fine, I guess. I'd rather bridge that, so let's get rid of these guys. And what I'm doing right here is, this is kind of ugly. I mean, it holds, it serves a function, but I don't know why I did that versus just a brick right there, a Technic brick. So let's control. Nope. Command. Oh, I'd so much rather be working on a PC. So I don't like whatever I did with that. That was just a weird little bit of Technic weirdness that I wasn't a fan of. So let's redo that first. Technic brick. Oh, can't spell. So you know, we're still going to use the same sort of bit where this gets joined, that gets joined. This is going to have to be joined later. Oh, if you hear noises in the other room, we're dog sitting. So there's going to be possible yips and barks and whatever. All right, so let's do, what was that? What size is that? It's a 2x3. So 2x4 plate. I don't know, maybe I stole this from somebody and I just went with the design, but this is really awkwardly built. 1x2 plate. Oh, and there's somebody vomiting. This is also sorting different. So I'm used to a machine that's sorting these a certain way, and I always know that like the oh, I remember this. This is like weird. You gotta turn it over. It won't. Yeah, see, it won't lock in. So this is going to be a good example of how to get these to work, because that's joined right where we want it. But since this won't, it clips. Like I could show you how this works. This is that part, and then we've got the cockpit. It goes like that. For whatever reason, the software doesn't like to do that. So you just kind of have to move it as close as possible and then get it in place, which is kind of a pain in the butt, but that's what you got to deal with. So the software itself is pretty regularly updated, and there's a lot of people who submit trouble tickets and bug reports and stuff. This piece doesn't click with that piece isn't available, this one doesn't work if you do it a certain way. I need to figure out. All right, I think that's lined up. All right, good. So that's a lot better. I like that better. That also means that we can put a neat little thing here if we want to, but I want to keep these little cheese wedges on the side, so we'll just add those back. This may have added to the part count a little bit, and see, now it's giving me a thing where it's like it's colliding. Maybe it's too far. Oh, I get it. Now you should be all right. Don't complain. All right, brilliant. I think what we can do here too is give it a nice, you can get these, usually with decals on them. So this is a good example. That's a pretty good one. We'll do that. They don't come with a lot of these. The microfighters generally don't. They've got these cheese slopes in the front that are supposed to indicate a cockpit or a canopy, because they're small and whatever. But since these have the big TIE Fighter screens on the front, I like putting these in there. So that's our body. All right, so let's move forward. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time figuring this out, but we're going to do wedge plates. Now, I don't want to get too big, because again, I think lately I've been doing designing these entirely too large. So we want to keep it, you know, at a cute size without losing too much of the design. How far is this off the floor? That's why. Let's get this down to the floor so we know what we're dealing with. Mas better. And these something that these wedge plates do that drives me bonkers. This one will clip to the square, and this one clips between studs for some stupid reason. I don't understand the logic behind that, but that's what they do. Hello, Glenn. Hello, Tucker. Thanks for joining us. Tucker, I'm doing a Founders Backward Bastard. You'll be sad because I had a 4-pack, and I had a 4-pack of Temptress, and I was going to do one of each tonight. And then I get home, and the bag slips out of my hand and shatters 3 of them, of the Founders. So, sad face. Sad beer face. It's like bitter beer face, but more tears. Let's see. Can I do this? Also, people in the chat, Glenn is one of my friends from the Lego user group here in Texas, TexLug. Oh, and I think that's my brother. What's up, Super Joe? It's my brother from the same mother. My brother is in Colorado and I'm in Texas, so we don't see each other a whole lot, but we text and chat when we can. He's a big nerd and artist. He's a very good artist. You should check out some of his work. If you look up Joe the Mad Titan, you can find some of his artwork on Facebook and Instagram and stuff. So let's see. We're just going to leave those the way that it is. I think that's a good position. Maybe a little farther out. Yeah, that's good. They're going to have to be joined back here, and I'm not exactly sure what's happening along the underside here. If this is hollow, because there's not many images of this, except for maybe the actual Lego set, you know. And the reason I don't want to look at the Lego set is because I don't want it to color how I design it. I try not to look at anything but like artwork for it. But yeah, I mean, there's so little. And this looks like it comes in for the X-Wing game for the miniatures, so that's cool. So let's just go off the idea that it's got a panel that comes down. This is all flat. This looks like it drifts a little down because you can see it angled here. That's going to be kind of complicated. But let's just go with another little, say, 2x3 plate in white. Come on. We'll grab 2 of those, and we'll do white. And again, there's going to be a lot of detail that's on here that we're not going to be able to get, like all the stripes and everything. This is, if you can see it, it's a Stormtrooper mask, right? So here's the eye, here's the other eye, here's the little grill on the front. It's painted to look like a Stormtrooper. There's no way I'm going to be able to do that in 85 pieces. So we're gonna do our best, but what I might do is 1x4 tile to hold them together. And again, a lot of this design stuff is kind of at this size, and I'm trying to go fast. It's a lot of, hey, let's grab this detail, and let's do this sort of functional thing, and let's do that. But in the end, what I'll end up doing is probably changing a lot of this. Oh, I have an idea. Kind of get a little bit, no, not 1x1. 1x1 tile, except I want it to be the round corner one. There we go. This isn't going to be an exact reference, but we'll do that, copy that, and then we'll copy the, nope, copy, V, switch, and we're going to color those black. And look at that. That's kind of cool. I like the way that looks. Yeah, that's pretty groovy. All right, so that's encroaching on the little ball here, so we'll knock these out maybe a skosh, which is an official measurement if you're from Wisconsin. All right, cheers everybody. Hey, let me know in the chat if anybody's drinking what you're drinking. I'm always up for finding new beers. So let's see. His canopies, there's not a lot of gray going on, so I think we're going to switch this to... This actually looks like it wants to be black. Control, black. And yeah, let's leave that. And do we have white? Is there a white profile brick? Hey, Glenn, are there white profile bricks? There are not. All right, so back to light gray. That's something to keep an eye out for, white profile bricks. Yes, we did. Used to hold Lego Olympics as a kid. I don't even remember what we built for that. I remember we built a lot. Like that's kind of all we did. We had a friend who lived down the street. His name was Christopher. I think we always called him Christopher. He was an only child, and he had all the toys. Like, I'm not gonna lie, my brother and I weren't rich or poor. Our parents always got us the latest and greatest Transformers and Star Wars toys and G.I. Joe and everything, so we weren't ever wanting for toys. But this kid, like, had all the shit. He had all of it. So he had a big bag of Lego that he would just dump, and we'd go over there and just make all kinds of planes and spaceships. And at the time, and this is how old we are, and I don't want to hear any sniggering from all the youngins out there, but we would build hatchet fighters from Buck Rogers. That was the thing. Hatchet fighters and Draconian fighters were the other one. So that was pretty rad. So what I'm doing here is I'm trying to get this look. I think I have the better version here. I want to get this. That slope that was there was great, but I want to maybe get another bit of support underneath it. 2x2 plate. So here's a fun thing that we would do when we built these ships. And I think Joe was involved in this too. We would, I just realized I'm sitting really close to the camera. Am I too close to the camera? Hello in TV land. We would build these giant ships. And they were just, we were so into Robotech and Buck Rogers and Battlestar Galactica at the time that we would build these giant ships with guns all over the place. And they were just mad colored, because we were just building with whatever we could. And we would put them on the handlebars of our bike, ride them up to the rec center, fly them around the playground equipment, space battles, and then because it took all of our concentration and coordination to get these there, we didn't want to then take them home again. We thought that's too much work. What we'll do is we'll bury them in the sand and then leave them for tomorrow, and then we can just come back and play tomorrow. We thought this was the best idea ever. And it turns out it's not a great idea. Because if you ever bury anything in sand, you know that sand gets everywhere, but also Lego falls apart, and you end up losing 20, 30% of what you brought up there. So I'm not saying we were bright children, but I'm saying we weren't bright children. So that was fun. That was a good memory. So I think I'm gonna just kind of do a cheat on this and do a jumper and then a toe ball. Nope. Toe ball. Bar. This guy, because these are my new favorite pieces. I love these pieces so much. You don't even know. Oh, you'll see it, Glenn. Thanks for stopping by. I'll be here next week. 1x1 round brick. So here we go. This is the top thruster. Oh, come on. Hey, in the chat, can you all hear the music? And is it too loud? And can you hear me? I mean, obviously you can hear me. Is there music coming through? Let's see. That's going to be, let's just put a little doohickey on the end of that. Round plate. Do 2 of those. And that's dark gray. Copy, paste, and oh, that's too big. Delete. That's pretty good. No music, huh? All right, well, that's a thing that I've got to figure out because I'm going to flip over to this. Browser, it should be capturing. Maybe it can't capture it unless it's live or unless it's active. I don't know. So I'm trying to get music in the background, which is kind of a bummer that you can't hear any music. I'm trying to figure this out. Tucker, I went over to your place yesterday and worked with Melissa to try to figure this out. And it doesn't have audio input capture. You'd think that'd be it, but it won't find browser. It won't find default speakers or something like that. So I don't know. Another project for next week. We'll figure it out. I almost feel like I don't need my headphones on anymore, but I like the music. So here, do this. Listen to Lukash. Here's the spelling. Where is it? This is the music I'm listening to right now. You can go to their website, his website, and just listen kind of for free. There's music that plays on the site. And I think you can download most of the albums for free. I've bought a couple of them because I really like it. But anyway, all right. Thanks for the update. So back to this. That thruster's looking okay. We'll put that little slope thing back on it. That's a 4x1 slope. Yes, no? Yes. So when I'm doing microfibers like this, it's always the aim to try to get, like, that looks like a piece I could do, right? This looks like a piece I could do. This looks like a piece I could do. Instead of getting a ton of pieces making up the entirety of that, like the actual set would, you try to minimize it. Like this may be a few too many pieces up front, but I like the way it looks. So let's try to do a, this is going to slope down a little bit. I may not need these just yet. I'll leave the profile bricks in there because it looks, again, these are supposed to be turned around. There we go. It has a good look. It may not be anything I need come 10 minutes from now, but we'll see. So this looks like another, maybe, I've got very little space to work right in this area to make another. I mean, I don't want to extend it too far. You know what I need to do is I need to cover that. Let's do a tile. Ooh, 1x1 tile. There's these guys. I don't know if that'll work. I'm going to color that white. And I'm going to color, yeah, I'll just do that one. What should that be? That should be fine. All right, that's good. No, Tucker, they are licensed, but they also have their publisher licenses through YouTube. And I emailed him and asked him because there was a licensing information link, and I was like, hey, I'm going to start streaming, and I really like your music, and I think it would go well with what I'm doing. What do I owe? You know, how do I pay for a license to be able to stream on YouTube? And he's like, well, my publisher actually does streaming on YouTube, and as long as you're not monetizing, it's fine. And if you are monetizing, a cut of that goes back to the publisher. So I was like, oh, so he's like, so you're good to do with whatever. I'm like, all right, fantastic. I think I might do that off and on in the future, but I might just find a site that's like, you know, Creative Commons royalty-free streaming music. I found a lot of music when I was doing the robot drawings where I would just, the site was called Gemendo, and it was a French music site, and you could search by Creative Commons. So anything that was Creative Commons, share and share alike kind of stuff, I would download those and play them on YouTube, and never had a problem with it. When I started doing the drawings, I was just throwing up any kind of music that I wanted, and they all got replaced with, because it wasn't a live stream, it was an actual movie. They got replaced with YouTube-friendly music. So I don't think I'm going to actually do a big panel there. What I might do is 2x1 slope. Nope. Oh, this terminology. If this gets viewed by anybody who works at Bricklink, I'd like the ability to hold down delete. See? Hold down delete instead of hitting it every time. I also should probably work with palettes or something like that, but that's just crazy pants. I think that might work. Maybe not both of them. This may end up being, you know what? I just had an idea. These are going to get replaced by... See, it's so hard to tell what... Oh, in my kingdom for a scroll bar on a Mac. Zoom. Where's my zoom? I don't have a zoom on here. All right. Anyway. This looks like a triangle maybe frame on the back half of that ball. And then it just looks really weird. Like there's a piece coming down here and a piece going across here, and so let's do this. I think I might want to just extend this out a little farther. So I'm going to get rid of these profile bricks. By profile bricks. And then I'll probably put, I'm going to start getting rid of all kinds of stuff in here. Keep that, you know, for stability purposes. 2x2 plates. Again, we want to keep it swooshable for those who aren't Lego aficionados. Swooshable just means you can grab it and fly it around and pieces don't fall off of it. I've got a couple microfighters that are not swooshable. They look nice. They're nice display pieces, but if you picked them up and went like this, chunks would fly off of it. There's some Lego sets that actually do that. Like, they're not terribly swooshable, but at this size, you want to keep it solid. So as often as I can fill in holes and gaps, I'm going to do that. So I think what I'm going to do is just make a big thing that goes across here, because I think you can kind of tell on this side that it's drifting, it's bent, right? The frame is bent a little bit down, but I need to get some stability in here to anchor some hinges, and I can't do that with those profile bricks in there. So we're gonna do maybe a 2x6 seems real big, but we'll throw it in there and see what happens. Yeah, that's actually not too bad. All right, so then the idea I had was to then, I think underneath it, and this one I make color, and it serves a dual purpose of retaining the seat that he's sitting on. And let's do our favorite 2x2 tile width, and I should just be able to say width. These are all printed. I guess it's not a tile. Studs? Nope. 2x2 plate modified. What was that called? 2x2 mod tile. Ah, here we go. This is our seat. This is our good seat. And if you were here last time, you'll remember that I like these. Let's color it something unique, like brown. Dark reddish brown, or reddish brown. I like those as seats because the back legs of a minifigure will not grip that too tightly, And who do we have there? A Charlie Brown Life. Hello, Charlie Brown Life. I don't recognize your screen name, but thank you for joining. If you're not actually somebody I know, let us know where you're from. If you're just joining us, I'm designing Lego ships and drinking beer. I'm behind on the beer drinking, actually. I wanted to be done with this one by now. So anyway, yeah, these are great seats. They fit a minifigure so that it's not completely stuck in there. And then I'll put 2 plates in, or I'll put 1x2 plate. 1x2 plates. Because I don't know what else to do with this ish just yet. Oh, there's always the not grabbing really well from the palette. So that's nice and stable now. Nope. Has to go in there. All right. Oh, hi, Dan. Dan's my neighbor. Dan's my new neighbor. He and his wife, Dara, moved in like a month ago. And they're great people. They're into gaming and board games and beers and nerd stuff. And they're great people to have next door. So welcome. Thanks for joining. We probably got another half hour, 45 minutes. I'll probably go a little later because we started late. Well, now I need to attach these. That's the problem. Oh, you know what I was going to do? I don't need these. I'm going to do, this is just an idea, but I'm going to do 1x2 mod plate. And I think do this one. So the microfighters that Lego puts out are just sick with these clips and bars because they've got to make X-wing wings and they've got to make certain things move and certain things have to look right, and so these are used a lot. So this is going to be a little challenging because I think instead of a panel, like this looks like a panel, right? I'm probably just going to do a slope. Like it's just going to be kind of like a, yep, that looks like it works. Let's do that. It won't be exact. I might be able to fix it later, but we're just kind of jamming right now. And these need to be dark gray too, because you can see the dark gray in there. Again, for those just joining us, this is the Black Ace from Star Wars Resistance. It's a Disney Channel show. I'm not going to say it's the best Star Wars show ever. It's not the worst, but it's definitely geared towards children. The only reason I watch is to get ideas for new ships, or to see the ships that they come out with and get new ideas for builds. And if you notice, it's painted like a stormtrooper mask, something I didn't know until like 20 minutes ago. So, all right, that side's taken care of, so we're going to copy it and paste it. Although these are, I almost don't care. Those are interchangeable at this point. I just need them to be 3. All right. What would I consider the worst show? Well, the holiday special is the worst thing ever by Star Wars. I think that was technically on TV. It never came out in the theater. So I guess that's the worst TV show. It was more of a variety show than it was an ongoing series. Resistance is kind of up there. I mean, and I'll try to talk while I just place pieces here, but I will go on record and say that I think the people who make Resistance are not giving kids credit. I think they think that kids are stupid. And so they develop a character, this needs to go about there, that is a pratfalling doofus. and there's no character arcs, there's no development. But then you have shows like The Last Airbender, another kid show that was on Nickelodeon. I mean, you know, and it was a fantastic show. It was well written. It was well thought out. It had good development. The stories moved. It was a good arc. Resistance is coming into its own. But I think it's only now that it's starting to push up against The Force Awakens that it's starting to get a little more developed. The main character, Kaz, is a buffoon. He's just a buffoon. He's like Forrest Gump. He just Forrest Gumps his way through everything. He lucks into lucky shots. He falls just the right way. Everything is perfectly timed for him and perfectly coincidental. So, let's see, what am I going to do now with this? Oh, I need a plate with a bar. So I would rather they take the show a little more seriously, because I think the idea that something can be made for kids and they're stupid and they don't understand is ridiculous. As the father of 2 children, I really disagree with that statement. You know, anything that a kid watches is a kid's show. Don't make it dumb just because you think that they can't handle it. Now, you know, don't make it Proust or anything, but you know, give them a little credit. There's something that I remember my kids doing when they were watching shows. They know drama, they know suspense, they know when things are tense. They know when they were little kids, I could always tell when the climax of the show happened and they were in the denouement of the show or the wrap-up of the show, you know, a 20-minute, 22-minute cartoon, because my kids would completely tune out. They were intent on viewing and everything was very focused, but as soon as that climax was over, they checked out. So it's like, kids know these things. Don't make it stupid for them just because you think kids are stupid. The Clone Wars is another great example. The Clone Wars is a fantastic show. And it got a lot better as it went along. The movie was kind of trash, but the show itself was fantastic. It explored a lot of the lore of Star Wars. It explored a lot of characterizations. Ahsoka became a big... her arc was pretty well fleshed out, and she grew as a character. I enjoyed it tremendously, and I'm really looking forward to the new stuff that comes out later. I think that's too big. I'm going to do 2x4. So, local Austin people, who did South by? Did anybody do South by? I tried to avoid it like the plague. I was talking to a member of the chat. What's the Hops? His friend Melissa is the lady that I mentioned who does mixer stuff. And she's still in the chat. I don't know. We were talking about, this was her first time going to South by Southwest, or first time in a very long time, and she's like, I just don't know if I can do South by Southwest anymore. I'm like, you know what? I don't think I can either. I'll just copy this and put that over there. And I was like, there's a fine line between being able to do it and being able to afford it. And there's a sweet spot where you're old enough to afford doing it, but you're maybe too old to actually do it. You know, you feel like, oh, it's too much traffic, it's too much stupid people downtown. I don't really care about the events. I don't really care about the music or the movies. I think that just drifts down a little bit farther. Oh, you know what? This would be good. Let's do another wedge plate. So it was kind of interesting because I think I ran into that. I did South by Movie and Interactive because my boss at the place that I work during the day he started an event called Create, which was sort of a Maker Faire type place where a lot of hackers and builders and people like that would show up and 3x3 plate and would show off robots and show off new pieces of technology and 3D printing and new ways to hack robots and build robots and, I mean, crocheting and knitting and papercraft and all this kind of cool stuff. Lock picking for some reason. So the first couple of years, I designed the posters for him, and he's like, if you design the posters, I'll get you a interactive badge or an interactive and movie badge. I'm like, that sounds fantastic. So I did that, and that was a lot of fun because I saw some great movies. And how does that look? That's too big. But that's the last time I went. I went 2 years doing that. And I think the second year I was like, this is just too much because I saw, it was really kind of cool. I saw Old Crow Medicine Show and Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros. And they did a show called Southbound Train. So we got to see the movie and then the bands would show up on stage, and it was really fantastic. And I saw a really crappy movie called Iron Sky, which was about Nazis with a moon base. That was a lot of fun. And I saw the Mike Birbiglia movie, Sleepwalk with Me. That was a lot of fun. I think this will work. That looks like it'll work. That looks like the right shape, yes. There seems to be a gap here, but I think I can figure it out by putting some stuff under here. So the next thing is to be able to attach these guys. Now this is where we get into the part where, see this slope right here? This slope is kind of already taken by that. But I just kind of want to give the indication because that's a little deeper of a slope. But I think as long as it's got kind of the shape, and you know what? These guys join in the middle. Oops. One too many alt tabs. I know, the perfect thing. Rail. Hashtag rail. So this software has, if nothing else, forced me to learn the names of the parts better than I had before. For the longest time I had, oh, that's not even enough. And they're still too close together. See, this is, okay, so this is another part where I run into an issue of, if this is too wide, this is 2 studs wide. If it were 1 stud wide, it would look great. But everything in Lego is pretty built on a 4x4 or a 2x2 or a very even number. And 3x3 would work great here, or 3 wide would work great here. But it would require like a shortening at some point back here so these could attach, and I just don't think I'm going to do that. The rails would be great, but I think I'm just going to do without. Yes, Iron Sky, Director's Cut Edition. It was worse. The Director's Cut was worse. That movie, so when we first saw it, we had no idea what we were in line for. And we're pleasantly surprised because it was an awful, awful movie. But it was like awful with serious production value. It was like really well done. But just like you're watching it going, this is a fever dream. What is this, you know? So every time somebody says, you mean Nazis on the moon? I'm like, you should watch this movie. I can't imagine the director's cut being any worse, but that's pretty funny. I heard gaming was a kind of a bummer for me this year when Melissa told me that they're charging for gaming this year. Like you have to actually have a pass for it. In past years, it's been free. And it was sort of a family, and I know they're trying probably not to gear towards just family events, but the fact that you could go and see, you know, spend an afternoon looking at like gaming development and VR development and improvements on processors and memory and video and all that kind of stuff, and what can be done and what can be pushed and what can be done with the available technology that doesn't require multi-billion-dollar backing. That's great. I love that idea. We saw a lot of really cool stuff there. The fact that they're charging now for it is kind of a... It makes me sad for the whole thing. It makes me feel like I feel good for having gone to Create and Interactive and stuff 6, 7, 8 years ago, and it was it felt kind of newish. It felt like San Diego Comic-Con in the 80s or 90s or something like that. Oh, it has been paid for the last couple of years? That's a bummer. That's a lot. I mean, the last time I went to gaming was, I mean, I thought it was just a couple of years ago with the kids, but maybe not. Create's not there this year, which is another bummer kind of thing. They ran that into the ground, so I'm not going to expect to see anything good out of that anytime soon. I'm struggling. I realize I'm talking and not really doing a whole lot because I'm struggling with how to attach these. I'm just another clip, I guess, but I mean, I don't want it to be too bulky. Oh, you know what? No, that'd be too big. I think that'll work. So let's try this. Let's move that out a little bit and do the vaunted 1x1 clip, y'all. Yas. So here's another issue with some older and newer Lego lore. Thick clip. O. Thick clip U. Not really sure. So usually when I run into this, I try to see which one's more expensive. So this one's least expensive. This one might be older. So the U clip is probably older. To be honest, and one of these days I'm going to get a camera hooked up. I'm just going to get my phone plugged in and show you the layout here, but I don't honestly know which is which with these. I think an O clip is newer, and I really wish Glenn was in the chat because he would know, but I think the O clip is newer and the U clip is older, so we're just going to go with the O clip. All right, this is going to be weak. This is going to be a weak structural bit. See, and okay, here's the thing. That looks right? That looks good. But I can guarantee you that will fall apart. And I don't even know like where this lines up in terms of, like if it lines up with like the O is here and like if the wings line up right here. I mean, it looks good. So let's roll with that for now because a lot of times I'll just put stuff in there and I'll fix it later. That reminds me. I'm going to do something really crappy. Hey, Beth? Huh? Could you get me a beer?
Oh, I suppose.
Yes. So I don't have to get up from my camera. Huh? So I don't have to get up from my camera and have there be dead air. Jeez. Let's see. You're my beer wench.
Which one?
The only one that's in there.
No,
the oh, not the cider. The Temptress. Hey Tucker, were you here when I was telling the story about the founders that I dropped? I don't know if you're still in the chat or not. Gracias.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, do I need to open it?
Yes, please. Thank you. Beth, everybody.
Hi.
I don't want to keep like relaying the story. Yes, okay. I forget who's in and when and whatnot. So this 3x3 plate's probably a little too big, but I'm going to put it there as a placeholder. So Tucker, I was talking with Gracias.
De nada.
Cheers. This is Temptress. This is legitimately my favorite beer of all time. It's the Temptress Imperial Milk Stout by Lakewood Brewing. They did... cheers, everybody. They've done... Oh, God, that's so good. They've done also a Thin Mint and a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. Or a peanut... It was just a peanut butter, but it tastes like a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. And I haven't seen them in the stores, but there was a beer release, or there was a tap takeover kind of thing at a place in Austin called Witchcraft. I think it's just called Witchcraft. It's a tap room. It's not a brewery. But it was amazing. It was so good. So Tucker, I was with some people at Aristocrat bar. Yes, hi Kitty. And the guy who we were sitting there talking with was like, bourbon barrel ages are they're so done. Everybody's got one. And I felt like, because I really like them and I realized that everybody's got one and they're very played and, but I felt like he was Como from Scott Pilgrim, where he's like, the movie is actually better than the movie, or the book is better than the movie. I just felt like I was dealing with Como at the time. Not that that means anything to anybody. Okay, and then that. I didn't have the mole. I heard the mole was really good. I'm a big fan of mole. I was actually hoping that Lakewood would actually do something with a little pepper in it, because I liked the... now I can't think of the name because I'm focused. But the one out Dripping Springs area that we went to for the run, you and me and Aaron. I can't remember the name of it now. But they had a pepper one that was like the Del Fuego or something like that. I kind of want Temptress to do a peppery one, like a jalapeno, not jalapeno, but like a... Anyway, I think it would be good. Their Temptress, like by itself, is it's very rich, and I think a little pepper would probably go really well with the richness. Usually, there's Flying Man has one that's pretty good. It's got the right amount of pepper in it. Oh, Twisted X, yeah. They have, like in general, they're not like the best. But I feel like they've gone kind of the way of Shiner. They're so ubiquitous and they're so... Oh wait, why am I recreating all of this? It's right here. God. All right. Reinventing the wheel. It's like telling people to go to Jester King when they come into town. Jester King's fine, but it's like, it's not the only thing in Austin, They, I think, I don't know. I feel like Thirsty Goat has taken over as like the table beer of Austin lately. Like everybody wants to do Thirsty Goat, and this may be outside of Austin too, but everybody I talk to is like, yeah, just get a 12-pack of Thirsty Goat and that'll set me. And I'm like, I remember when they were like sampling at HEB like a year ago. So I mean, I don't know. So yeah, if you like Imperial Milk Stouts, Dan can attest to this. They're pretty good. Temptress is pretty good. It's very stable. It's very solid. Like there's some probably with it's a little more bitter, or it's a little more boozy flavor, but this is kind of a very well-rounded, I feel. They've also been around for a while, so I mean, they know what they're doing. If anybody's interested, What's the Hops is another mixer stream that they do a lot of. They go to a lot of breweries and they go to a lot of beer events, and they talk about beer. They talk about all things beer, brewing, marketing, distribution. You know, it's just a lot of, let's go to this new festival and have a beer, and let's go to this place and have a beer. And But it's very knowledgeable. They know what they're talking about. So, and I probably sound like a blibbering idiot. That doesn't look like a stormtrooper mask, but I think the markings are fairly similar. I've got about 15 minutes left before I probably should wrap this up. This is not going to be a very stable build. This is going to be okay. A one clip. Maybe I should do a locking clip, a locking clip. Nope, I forget what they're called. There's see if I can kind of show you the difference. This is a Lego moment. This is what I'm working with, these two pieces, right? They clip, but it's very fluid motion. If it's small, like this is, you know, it's not going to move. There's not a lot of weight on this. There's not a lot of pressure on this to move. So it's going to stay where it is. Versus, and I hope I can just get this kind of, there's other clips that are angled and you can't hear it. I don't know. It's a locking clip or a ratchet clip. Why do I keep calling it clip? Hinge, a ratchet hinge. So this is kind of getting into the really nerdy weeds of designing stuff. There is a specific angle that these clip at, and I think it's 12.5 degrees. Don't ask me how I know that. But when you're designing stuff, you can't use these in the software without actually, I mean, it'll let you like change the hinge angle. Like I can change the hinge angle on this to whatever I want. It'll let me rotate it to whatever I want. I mean, it's clipped into some plates, but it won't let me do it now, but you get the idea. Let's see if it'll do it. Yeah. So it'll let me do whatever angle I want to do, right? And it down to the hundredths. So for those who don't know already, I've designed the state capital of Texas. We were going to try to do Brick Fiesta, which is our big Lego convention in July. And we were trying to time it for Brick Fiesta, but then once it was done, it was going to live in the Texas Capitol Visitor Center. And they're building a table for it and a glass enclosure and everything. So I designed the Capitol about 2 years ago, and it's about 62,000 pieces, so it's a lot. And the dome part of it was a trial and error, and just I lost my mind doing this because it's a lot of this kind of stuff where you have to make the angles work. And in the software, you can really programmatically and really algorithmically make the angles work. I don't know if it's going to work in the actual build. We've been ordering parts. We're waiting on some more parts to come in. We've got about a third of them now, which is about 15 to 20,000 parts. And they're all just sitting on my table over here. I don't know if you can actually see it or not. That's Lego parts for the Capitol. I'm going to wait for a second to see if it'll show up. Yeah, okay. So, but there's a lot of figuring that kind of stuff out, and you can do it in the software, but until you get it in real life to see what gravity does and what physics will do and what the... Okay, so this one that I did today, this was super fun to do, but this back engine part wouldn't work because it worked in the software, but it didn't tell me that there was a collision, right? So I had no way of knowing until I got the pieces. So now I have to go back and rewrite instructions. So this is going to be finished, and I'm going to put it together and realize this part doesn't work, this part doesn't work. I think I need to cover this somehow. So now we've got that. I think we need to cover this in some tiles, 1x2. Oh, you know what? 2x2. No. Because this all needs to be thrusters. So you can see I'm trying to keep this black part right here and that part, but this whole area right here now, maybe right here, needs to be thrusters. And what part? So this is really great. We're only up to 65 parts. I'm really happy about this. Oh, there's a whole backside here. This is going to be the failing of this model because, nope, until I actually see more pictures of this thing. And what I can do is I can go through and rewatch the show. There's only a couple episodes that have the ace pilots on them to see if I can get some screenshots. And I'm really shocked they don't have these online, but to see if there's more screenshots of specifically this one where I can see what like the underside looks like, or the rear looks like the aft. Because a lot of things, if you look, I can't even think right now. Secutor class battle carrier. Okay, so if you get like a really weird lore, deep dive kind of image of a Star Wars ship that doesn't exist in anyone's mind or in anywhere but somebody's mind. This is a total imagination, right? It may have existed in a comic book, but it's like a sketch. So somebody, and this is there's a artist called Fractal Sponge, and if you're a fan of Eckhart's Ladder or Space Dock, they talk about all kinds of space vehicles and starships and everything from all kinds of, Star Wars and Halo and The Expanse, all this kind of stuff, Star Trek. So Fractal Sponge is basically a mod designer that they get these ships and they 3D image these ships. But this is an exception because this is going to have all kinds of versions and views and elevations. So, but if you get like a random one of these, I've designed Bulwark class battle cruiser. This is like the images that you get. So that's actually not too bad. I'm trying to think of another one. PTB 625. Okay, here's a ship that got, this is the PTB 625. This looks like an ARC 170 fighter. An ARC 170 fighter is probably about this big, right? But the model itself looks exactly like it. This is the only image of this anywhere, right? This is it. So the only way I heard about this was on Space Dock. Have you heard, ships you've never heard of? And I'm like adding them to my list. So now I have a PTB 625, which no one has ever heard of. But a lot of these instances, I have no idea what the back half of this thing looks like. They always have this nice kind of angled, this is the ship. It's like this is the glamour shots of this ship. So there's no way of knowing what the underside or the back half. So you kind of have to make it up. So let's go back to this. Like, I have no idea what this is going to look like back here. So it's going to be flat. I don't want to see this Technic brick hanging out here. So I may cover it with, like, this is a 1x2. So I'll probably do a bracket. All hail the mighty bracket. What is that? Oh, that's probably holding the seat up and stuff. So let's just do a bracket. We had talked about the brackets in previous videos. Yeah, I'm just going to do something silly like a... I don't know if this will work or not. Oh, you know what? I could do something fun like this. And I say fun in sort of the, I'm really nerding out kind of. Oh, look at that. That's great. And then we're going to greeble it. 1x2 grill. Look at that. Oh, beauty. I don't like the way it kind of sits there. I don't even know why this brick is here. Oh, because we had a dish on the back. You know what? That was fun, but you're going away. Because I can put 1x4 with stud. This guy. I can't wait to like get the music to play with this next time because I really like this band. Or this guy. And I've played it for some people and I think they kind of know about it. I just really enjoy chiptune music, but like the kind that doesn't sound like real heavy dubstep kind of stuff. Come on, man. I really like this. Oh, that's so choice. With the grill on the back. This makes me happy. Little things like this. I have to be careful because I'm getting to the point where I'm rushing and I'm like picking weird pieces. This may not be the right. Oh, I know what I can do. One by one tile. Did I spell tile right? Perfect. And because it's got like a color scheme, let's make, I have no idea what this would be. Maybe let's make these white. I don't know if they exist in white. That's the other thing. The database for, yeah, that's pretty good. The database for Bricklink is pretty extensive, and they continually update the software with their database. So if you're concerned about a part that you're using, if it has a color or if it even exists at all, they're pretty good about it. Their downfall, again, and I've said this before, is their minifig selection. The parts themselves are easy to put in, but anything printed, minifigs especially, because they've got printed torsos, they've got printed faces, those take a little more work to do, so they put those in last. This is actually pretty good. This is where I'm going to leave the model. Let's see if we can do... I don't have a minifigure yet. So what I'm gonna fill in for next time is I'm going to figure out the covering for here, because this has got a nice white panel. A nice white panel there. I think the wings look pretty good. It looks pretty similar. I'm concerned about the hinges here. If I could push this back. I have an idea of how to do that, but it may chunky this up a little bit and add to part counts that I don't really want. We're only at 68 pieces. I mean, this is really low for a microfighter. Microfighters are 85 pieces, you know? So, I mean, this is actually really good. I'm guessing that the engines along here are probably going to be about 10 or 8 to 10 each. So, I mean, if we're still looking at 88, that's pretty good. But what I want to do, because this is fun. Hey, Alfred, how's it going, man? Alfred's a buddy of mine from Houston. We used to work together for a hot second at a cable company, and we were doing customer service, and it was awful. I just typed in Lego, looking for a part. Leg. And he and I both did comic book art, and he's a fantastic artist as well. And I I still have that drawing, Alfred, of that you sent me that you wanted me to ink. I still have it like taped to the Bristol that I was gonna like light box and ink. Never got around to it. I still have it. If you want it back, just let me know. I'll send it back to you, because I mean it's some pretty good stuff. So yeah, Alfred and I go back a ways. Leg left. So we're gonna do. God, I clicked on it. Move. Hips. We're gonna design the figure now, real quick, because this figure is actually going to be Black Ace Pilot. Oh, I should put Star Wars, because I'm sure there's other Black Aces out there. Black Ace. Wikipedia is legit the best site ever. I've spent so much time on this stupid thing. Just rabbit hole after rabbit hole of finding all kinds of stuff. Old legends, ships, and it's just super fun. So this guy's name is Griff Halloran. And again, he looks like an old Imperial pilot, Imperial stormtrooper, or TIE pilot. He's got the, because you know he's badass with his sleeveless stormtrooper outfit. Oh, this is perfect. Look at this. Somebody did that. Thank you, whoever did that. So, dark gray, dark bluish gray. We're going to do a TIE pilot. Oh, we're not going to. Pilot. Not pilot with a tie. That's stupid. Pilot Star Wars. Oh, God. This is torso Star Wars. So you just have to remember sometimes how these are named. I hate scrolling through all these every time I want a Star Wars minifigure chest or torso. Torso tie? I swear to God there was one that was a torso of a TIE fighter pilot, but maybe there isn't. So let's do, oh, you know what's, sorry, that you guys couldn't hear that. No. Well, let's do that. It's Darth Vader, but we're running out of time. But it's got the control panel kind of thing, like this little thing right here. I don't know if you can see that. Most TIE pilots have a little control panel. Oh, no, I don't have one out there. Or do I? Yeah. So this is a Rebels TIE pilot. I'm trying to remember because they all have different prints, but they all have this little control panel thing up here. And then some of them have little tubes that go up to the helmet. This is an older one, you can tell because it's a brown head. They used to do this for whatever reason. But they don't have that in the software. So we're just going to do this because it looks like it's got a control panel there. 746. I think we're about done. I'm going to do arm right. Giant arm. No, thank you. And then arm left. Art left. Nope. Now I'm rushing, and things are going to get ugly. And these are going to be flesh colored. Light flesh. There we go. And then he's got a really, so head hold. Sorry, I'm going to have to avoid the camera for a second while I lean in to see. That's not good. Lines. Yeah, that's probably good. There we go. Hands. So this will be the pilot. And the good thing about designing the pilot this way is that Lego has already come out with a set for this guy. So I don't need to make him like really good, because some of these really more obscure ships or ships that I know Lego's not going to produce, you have to make a custom minifigure. And again, shout out to Big Kid Bricks. They do a lot of good custom minifigures. And if you, oh, that'd be so great to get a tattoo on there, Empire. Helmet. Helmet, tie. Yeah. If you ever need anything, they may have already done it, but you should go check out their site and see if they've got one. If not, you could contact them, see if they're if they could make it. They might. We're hopefully working together on some stuff, so keep an eye out for that. I think I'm at a point where I'm going to stop. I've been going for about an hour and a half, and we got stuff to do tonight, so this will be fun. So tune in next week. We'll have this completed. I don't know why I keep saying we. I'm not the queen. I'll have this completed. I think next week too, at some point I want to go over some instructions and then also maybe some live builds. I'll try to get some parts in for next week and get a camera set up so we can, you can see my little hands doing some work. We might do another design. We may do some live building. We'll see. So I think that's it. Thanks guys for showing up, and I hope to see some of you next week. And if not, tell all your friends. And anybody I mentioned, I'll put links in the description. May not be tonight, may not be till tomorrow morning, but thanks for joining. We'll see you guys later.